Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today's video will be rather short and sweet. This is based on a blog post which I published in September 2021, my Dantean wish list. I was originally hoping to do like a video redo or redemption of my recitation sneak preview of Canto II of Inferno in the original medieval Florentine Tuscan Italian, but unfortunately, it just wasn't the day. Maybe the universe is trying to tell me to just hold off entirely until I know all 142 lines by heart and I can recite them backwards and forwards in my sleep. So anyway, let's just get on to with my substitute for today. If I had limitless amounts of money or a generous, wealthy friend, these are some things I would absolutely love to have. Number one, an illuminated manuscript of the Commedia. Having recently read Ross King's The Bookseller of Florence, which I very highly recommend, I have such renewed love for these beautiful books. So much time and effort went into making them, and no two are alike. Many also are replete with gorgeous full-page artwork and or lots of illustrations around the text. And I would love to get any illuminated manuscript in general. I'm told a book of hours, which is like a medieval Christian prayer book. They're fairly easy to find and relatively inexpensive. I'm not like super duper cheap, but for example, my dream hobby is collecting, showing antique cars. For example, it would be the equivalent of a Model T4, yeah, maybe $2,000, but compared to my dream car, the Duesenberg of $2 million, yeah, it can totally be doable if that's what you really want. Number two, an early printed edition. While not holding a candle to what came before, many nevertheless are just as beautiful in their own ways, particularly if they have illustrations. Number three, an edition with Bartolomeo Pinelli's darling 1820s illustrations. Of the illustrators I'm familiar with, he's my absolute favorite. His drawings are just so cute and sweet, and rather in my own style of cartoon-like human figures, and I do have future videos planned based on my blog posts about artwork, illustrations of the Divine Comedy, artwork of the Divine Comedy, and artwork of Dante and Beatrice, so look forward to that if you're interested in artwork and art history, in addition to obviously Dante and the Commedia. Number four, this is beyond a long shot, but it would be absolutely fantastic if we ever found Dante's original notes and rough drafts. And I did have a recent video and blog post about an Anglican nun who miraculously discovered Dante's handwriting and was able to put two and two to figure out this was exactly the person who wrote it. It was absolutely marvelous to behold and realize, oh, some of his handwriting did survive. It was under our noses all the time, and this is what it looked like. I would absolutely love if we could find more and more and more, and I would love to see that in a museum, and obviously to find more and more of his handwriting over time. It's just such a special feeling you have when you look at this page, even if it's just through a computer screen, and realize, oh, the supreme poet wrote this, and this is kind of a connection through the ages to him, and just kind of an eerie feeling. Number five, any one of the paintings I've been illustrating my Dantean posts and videos with. There are so many I would love to hang on my walls. Number six, an edition of the Commedia with Stradanis's illustrations of Inferno. He's my next favorite illustrator, though sadly only illustrated the first canticle. I just love his gorgeous sepia tones, and again, I am planning some videos about artwork in the Divine Comedy and Dante, so I'll look forward to that. Number seven on my list, I have since acquired the Derling Martinez translations of Purgatorio and Paradiso, and I am planning a future video talking about my Dantean bookshelf in much greater detail, all the different translations and other Dante books which I own, and obviously I've discussed in the past things which I hope to purchase in future. Number eight, the 1902 translation by Charles Eliot Norton. Despite its age, what I've read of it sounds pretty nice, not at all burdened by faux archaisms and flowery Elizabethan prose, which unfortunately that's almost a given in a lot of pre-1950 translations. They're trying to make everyone sound like Shakespeare, the King James Bible, even when those languages never had equivalent grammar or pronouns. So I'm so glad that a habit has long since died out. Number nine, the Professor Thomas G. Bergen translation of 1948 through 54, which features illustrations by Leonard Baskin. I'm also very interested in this edition because Professor Bergen was such a renowned scholar of Italian literature, and I also believe he did a translation of the Decameron, and he highly endorsed my own favorite translation. He said it totally restores Boccaccio's earthy, dirty, vulgar language and all these great puns and double entendres, and that's the way it was absolutely meant to be read. And by the way, I am planning, hopefully within the next few months, maybe a 105 video series all about the Decameron, and just I'll look forward to that if you're interested in Italian literature. Number 10, the 1481 printed edition with Botticelli's illustrations, and again, this will be covered in much more detail in my upcoming videos about artwork of the Divine Comedy. Number 11, the printed edition of circa 1495 with much more successful Botticelli illustrations. While most of these pictures are unfinished, they're still a wonder to behold, and some of his finest works. And if you own the Alan Mandelbaum translation of the Divine Comedy, you will see like reproductions of those illustrations scattered throughout, and that was like really a treat when I bought the Mandelbaum edition. I'd really been wanting to buy it for a long time, and when I finally got it, oh, it's even better than I expected because it also has these absolutely amazing Botticelli illustrations in it. Number 12, the illuminated manuscript with Paradiso, illustrated by Giovanni di Paolo, done circa 1444 through 1450. Two still unidentified artists did the other two canticles, and you've probably like seen these at some point if you're like interested in Dante in any capacity, if you might not know the artist's name or anything about him, because like they're lengthwise instead of the traditional like widthwise, and he also like tended to use a lot of blue in his illustrations and has like a very like specific style you would like immediately recognize if you had ever seen them. Number 13, a verified letter Dante wrote to anyone, which again is beyond a long shot, but like you can dream, can't you? Number 14, original notes for and or a rough draft of any of his other works. Number 15, I know this is almost impossible, but I would love to find a tiny bit of Dante's bone dust in something like a vial or pendant. Ravenna guards his remains so closely, as discussed in Guy Raffa's book Dante's Bones, which I also very highly recommend, and the city wasn't very pleased to discover some of his bone dust in the imprint of his darkened skull on paper have been in Florence and other cities for quite some time. And that's also something I'll be writing into my Atlantic City books. My character Cinnamon gets like a little pendant from her father on the eve of his death when she's very young. He's also like an autodidactic, passionate, like Dante scholar and lover of all things Dante, and it has lines from the midway point of the Divine Comedy and Purgatorio 16 in both English and Italian. Light has been given you for right or wrong, and if the world today has gone astray, the cause lies in you, and you it must be sought. And there's a tiny little bit of bone dust inside the pendant, which he tells me, like not to tell anybody because like he shouldn't even have it too. He acquired it when he was in Italy for Dante's 600th yahrzeit death anniversary in 1921, and some things she absolutely treasures and loves, not just because she's close, very very close to her father, but also she shares his great love of Dante. So thank you very much for listening. If you've not already, please consider subscribing. I talk about a lot of like classic world literature and like serious historical nonfiction. I'm also hoping to get back into doing more videos about Dante and the Divine Comedy, and also hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I upload new content. And because we're in the season of repentance, the high holy days and the days of awe, and just had a Rosh Hashanah, I would like to very sincerely apologize if I have ever inadvertently like offended anyone with these like comments I've made, or just like a tone of voice or anything like that. It's absolutely not my intention. I know I have a very like blunt, straightforward, like straight shooting, like no nonsense, like very working class way of speaking, and I know some people might interpret that the wrong way, but I have never like intentionally intended any offense towards anyone. So I do very very much apologize if anyone has ever taken anything I have like said or written absolutely the wrong way, because like I would never really do that to anybody no matter what. So thank you again very much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video.